Devontae Smith especially. I think the way they're going to be able to use him in motion, I think against this Rams defense that likes to play a lot of man, I think they like to use a lot of their corners very physical as well. I think that'll cancel out Brown. Now, obviously, Saquon, I think, still has a big game. He's not going to have the 302 yards that he had from scrimmage against the Rams the first time, but I still think he plays very well. And I like a lot of the matchups that on their defense, stopping these slot concepts that the Rams like to do. Cooper DeJean, there's a reason he was in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I think he's a tough matchup for this Rams team. And the one thing that beats the Eagles with is tight ends a lot of the time, but the Rams really don't have that. So I like the Eagles too, and I like it by double digits as well.
Yeah, I mean, just the Eagles and the weapons that they have, and it's just some Jekyll and Hyde and what Stafford are you going to get? And I think Saquon is continuing to be Saquon. And yeah, I think he's going to rush for close to 200. Arrow got it at 150. I'll take the overs on that. But yeah, I'm taking them to definitely cover, and it'll be kind of a boring game, as we've seen. Kind of that's been the trend in these playoffs so far. So hopefully we get more than one good game these Saturday and Sunday.
Give me Sean McVay. Give me Matt Stafford. Give me the Rams. The way they're playing, 5 of the last 6 games, they've held opponents under 10 points. Eagles offense look trash. Hurts looks trash. They're not going to let Saquon Barkley go for 240 yards against them the first time or something crazy. I don't think they're going to let him do that. The Eagles are too reliant on Saquon Barkley right now, and A.J. Brown's going to be reading books on the sidelines while the Rams are going up.
The moment it completely falls apart for Nick Sirianni, that smug piece of trash. I absolutely hate that man. And he has led this team in such a strange way for the last few years. He's brash. He's in your face. I guess that's what Philadelphia wants in a coach. But I don't know how you handle that as a player. It's like when you're winning, it's like, oh, that's just weird, Nick. But when times go bad, and I think they might with the defensive scheme that they're going to play, because the Rams are no fools. McVay is an elite coach. You said it, Owen. And he is going to load up the box on Saquon and dare Jalen Hurts to throw it. How could he not do that? Hurts has not been throwing well. Maybe A.J. Brown was learning a new way to communicate with Jalen Hurts, Errol. Maybe that's what it was. He was like reading some kind of self-help book. He's going to put 8 in the box. He's going to bring pressure off like edges and do run blitzes. He's going to do whatever it takes. Those young guys on that defense have gotten better all season. Jared Verse is a man-child. I believe he's going to be defensive player, a rookie of the year. And look, it doesn't surprise anybody that they've been this good. Speedy was on Fisk in the draft. The Falcons decided to sign Cousins and draft Penix, and they could have had Verse. I don't know. I think they might have been in this situation in the playoffs instead of the Rams, perhaps. I think the Rams are going to take them down.
I don't think it's going to be the same trend. I do think it's going to be a close game against the Eagles. I'm with Fish, though. I hope that Rams pull away, but I think the Eagles are going to have it at the end of the day. So it's going to be the Eagles for me.
Yeah, I like a close, higher scoring game as well. Not necessarily like it's going to be a shootout like 41-35 or something like that. But I do think when you look at the Bills, the way they use the 2 tight end sets is something that we didn't see a lot of in the past because they had Stephon Diggs there and Gabe Davis. And I think that's a big matchup advantage against this Ravens team that you mentioned Kyle Hamilton yesterday. He's a monster, but there are a lot of young linebackers besides that have had trouble guarding tight ends this year. Buffalo's had some issues with that too, but they're getting a lot of those guys healthy now. So I think I'm going to give the slight edge, very slight edge to the Bills in this one as well.
Yeah, I think this is it. It lines up to be the best game of the weekend. Will that play out? We'll see. We've seen how Lamar is kind of adjusted his game to not only be a threat with his feet, but also in the passing game. So, and you have 2 guys that are, prolific MVP candidates every year and how good they are. It's going to be a cold one in Buffalo, and those Buffalo crazies, you know how they like that. So it's going to be a close one for me, but I'm gonna have to go with the Bills, and it's just in their environment, in their just their core of what they believe in, and how they embrace all of just Buffalo. I think it's going to be Bills winning that one, and I think there's gonna be some big plays. I think it's at like 51.5 right now. I think it comes close to that, but doesn't quite get there.
So if I'm picking with my heart, I want the Bills to win. If I'm picking with my brains, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are probably going to be too much for that Bills defensive line to handle. They did the zone read all week last week against the Steelers and were really, really, really successful with it. And I think Derrick Henry is going to have a huge game against the Bills defensive line. And the first time they played, he had a huge game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he runs all over him. I hope Josh Allen pulls it off, but I think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are just too much.
This is the game that we all wanted to see, right? The two guys up for MVP. You said it, Errol. It's neck and neck. It's probably the closest MVP race we've had since the last co-champion that we talked about on the show. It was 2003. Was the last one with Peyton Manning and Steve McNair. Before that was Favre and Barry Sanders in 97. This could end up being something like that. It would have to be a tie, 16-16. But you got to give it to the team that's hot. But both teams are hot. Both teams are playing great. This is going to be really, really awesome. Thank you, Jamie Lee. I appreciate the comment. But if you're just listening, I apparently am very gangsta right now in my analysis of the Bills. Lamar Jackson won. Lamar Jackson is a great football player. He has been doing things. He can make plays happen off schedule like you wouldn't believe. He rolls out. Receivers are on their third time running back across the field before they get open sometimes, and he's still running around. It doesn't matter how good your team is. He's better than you. Except Josh Allen's the same way. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a big over. I don't think there's going to be much defense at all. It's going to be the last team with the ball. It's going to be like those old Chiefs-Bills games. I'm going to say go with the home team, go with Allen. The Bills need it, man. Go with the Bills.
I agree. I think this should be the AFC Championship game, but it'll have to do with the divisional round. But I think Lamar Jackson and, as Owen put it, Derrick Henry are going to be way too much for Josh Allen and the Bills. I think this year is the year that Josh Allen can get over the hump and show that he's not as bad of a playoff quarterback as he's shown in the past. So give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.